Lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai lai.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to congregants, to friends, to guests, to all of us joining here in the sanctuary and all of us joining online. It is so wonderful to be with you all to celebrate Shabbat. We're honored to have our congregational president, Hank Bernstein, with us on the Bima tonight, as always. Let's ensure that we are praying together as one community. If you're online, please introduce yourself in the chat. And here in person, find someone new to greet and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. We are so excited that tomorrow morning at Shabbat morning services, the man, the legend, Brody Slotnick will become a bar mitzvah. We are so excited for him to lead us tomorrow. And tonight to celebrate, Brody is here along with his parents, Jamie and Michael, and they're going to lead us in our Shabbat blessings, beginning first with the candle lighting on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner להדליק נר של שבת.
And the Kiddush, the blessing of the wine, can be found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu. זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Mazel Tov, Brody. In the opening scene of Fiddler on the Roof, the rabbi's son asks, "Is there a proper blessing for the Tsar?" Stop me if you know this one. The rabbi responds, "A blessing for the Tsar? Of course. May God bless and keep the Tsar far away from here." Laugh a little. Thank you, Rabbi Maderer, for laughing. Now, while there is plenty to be said about the shameful past of British royalty, tomorrow, Great Britain will officially crown a new king, Charles III. While Fiddler on the Roof jokes, there is actually a proper blessing for royalty. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shnatan mikvodo levasar vadam. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives God's honor to human beings. I actually had the chance to say this blessing once when meeting the future king almost 20 years ago. I was a rabbinical student living in London, and Prince Charles visited our seminary during a Jewish-Muslim interfaith dialogue event. The soon-to-be King Charles has actually made a point of promoting interfaith dialogue and inclusion of minority faiths in British society. This will be on full display at tomorrow's coronation, where for the first time, rabbis, along with imams and other non-Christian clergy, will take part in the ceremony. So, if you're so inclined and you're one that chooses to watch the coronation tomorrow, you can infuse it with a little bit of Judaism and say the proper blessing for this occasion. I think it's a nice reminder that we can infuse our Judaism into all moments of life. And so we take a deep breath and release as we enter the beauty, the sanctity of Shabbat, and remember that we can take these blessings with us throughout our week. We continue with the singing of our Kabbalat Shabbat songs, beginning first on page 11, Eilech Hamda Libi, at the bottom of the page.
Eilech Hamda Libi, 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 الحمد ليبي الحمد ليبي الحمد ليبي خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام الحمد ليبي 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 خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام خصنا وأنا تتلام.
With the joy of a wedding, we continue with Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד כי השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה.
Please rise.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה.
Remain standing as we continue on page 28 with our call to worship. Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 la lai lai la lai 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 Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Lai 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 lai.
The top of page 31, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And on the top of page 33, together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
In the middle of page 39, we continue reading responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive force. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot oseh fele, norat tehilot oseh fele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot oseh fele, norat tehilot oseh fele.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. We continue with the tefillah on pages 46 and following. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We conclude the tefillah with words of blessings for peace on page 61. We join together in the English at the top of the page. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, mevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We turn in our prayer books now to page 278. We are still in the period known as the Omer, the period between Passover and Shavuot, the spiritual journey from redemption in Egypt to revelation at Mount Sinai. And during this journey, we count each night as we work our way up to the giving of Torah. And so we join together in the blessing on the middle of the page, and then I'll count which day it is. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, al sfirat ha'omer, hayom shloshim yom shehem arba shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 30 days, which is 4 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We take moments now for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we'll be on page 253 for the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. Right before Shabbat last week, Rabbi Harold Kushner died. Rabbi Kushner, perhaps most famous for his book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People, helped so many Jews and non-Jews alike find peace with God after facing unthinkable suffering. As we prepare for the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, I turn once again to the words of Rabbi Kushner. We can't pray that God makes our lives free of problems. This won't happen, and it's probably just as well. And we can't ask God to make us and those we love immune to disease, because God can't do that. We can't ask God to weave a magical spell around us so that bad things will only happen to other people and never to us. People who pray for miracles usually don't get miracles. But people who pray for courage, for strength to bear the unbearable, for the grace to remember what they have left instead of what they have lost, very often find their prayers answered. If you are holding someone in your heart tonight in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, I invite you to write their names in the comments or to speak their names aloud at this time.
Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. El na refana la, El na refana la, El na refana la, El na refana la. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim.
We turn our thoughts to all of the blessings, all of the special occasions that are worthy of blessing. And so, as we reflect on the last day, on this coming weekend, on the last week, perhaps there is a simcha, a special occasion that you might want to call out in preparation for our blessing for Thanksgiving. What do you think, Brody? Anything you want to call out? Do you want me to call it out for you? We're very much looking forward to celebrating your bar mitzvah. We're so proud. What a celebration. And you know, it's really tomorrow morning, but we get to extend it and feel that joy tonight too. Others, does anybody have a simcha? Ellen? Happy birthday, Stan. Ned? Wow, good memory. So nice, nice. You came across one of those old connections. Beautiful. Linda?
Ed and I celebrated our 32nd wedding anniversary yesterday.
Mazel tov. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Mon?
Yesterday I celebrated
4 months post-op surgery and looking strong. And so glad that that energy post-healing is coming into our congregation. We're very lucky. Do you have something, Rabbi Friedman?
I have something.
Yes.
I'll just share, because I think they're watching online, as they do most weeks, that it is my father's 80th birthday today.
Oh.
Which is pretty amazing. So
Beautiful.
we got to celebrate last weekend
Yeah.
with him when we were all there together for my niece's bat mitzvah. And so,
Beautiful.
Sophie, if you're watching, Mazel Tov again.
Mazel tov to the whole Friedman clan, and happy birthday, Alex. Wonderful. Any that I missed? Mon, did you have another? Yeah. Can we get a blessing for the Tsar? No, I knew what you said. Yeah, the blessing for the Sixers, I have to say that walking through the front door of my home, it feels like that's all there is in my household right now. But yes, what would be a blessing for the Sixers? I think, we might return to some of the lessons that we had earlier this year when we had some exciting Philadelphia championships, right? Which included, of course, our Phillies and our Eagles going so far. And I would say that we might pray for a night without injury on any team, and obviously success for the Sixers. But that's not really where our prayers are going. But yes, that's where our positive energy is going. So we'll see you on the other end. All right. Yes, Jane. Oh, nice connection. Very nice connection. We share that thought of your father. All right. We're going to turn to page 344 and join together for our blessing of gratitude, the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
I guess I could have said the thank you blessing for the Sixers around Embiid getting MVP. We could have gone in that direction too. Yeah, but that's not the focus of the Devar Torah, shockingly. All right, this passage comes from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel's classic, 20th century classic called The Sabbath. The meaning of the Sabbath is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things, of space. On the Sabbath, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Let's do that. It's a wonderful vision Heschel offers. He writes, I think, not quite in prose, not quite in poetry. I'm not sure what that category is. He writes in Heschel, you know? Maybe it's just, he writes in prayer, perhaps. But the way that he's able to lift up words to connect us with the purpose of Shabbat feels timeless. So, what's the challenge? What's the challenge that we might find in 21st century America, in Philadelphia, in whatever path we walk in this life? What are some challenges that we might find become sometimes obstacles when it comes to celebrating Shabbat? Any thoughts that you would call out? Distractions. To find time. To find time. You know, the beginning of the Road of Shalom vision statement, which you know well because you wrote it, is the first phrase is immersed in Jewish time, and then it's guided by enduring values, compelled to moral action, we create profound connections. And sometimes I think that first phrase is actually the most challenging, immersed in Jewish time, because there's something countercultural about carving that time for a holy purpose. Good. Other challenges when it comes to Shabbat? Jill? Lack of community. Shabbat is not meant to happen alone. Yes. And it is countercultural. You need others in your culture doing this with you, even if it's not everybody. It's okay to be in a minority. You can do Shabbos as a minority, but it's not easy. Betsy? Connecting with our inner self, with our soul. Maybe it's not so easy to pause, to just be with ourselves. Maybe, I don't know, do we always know even how to rest? How to turn inward? Maybe not. Richard? That's it. It's so hard to turn off the noise of the world, work, tasks, whatever the obligations. I'm hearing that actually literally and metaphorically, the noise of the world. Thank you. Ned? Yeah. So figuring out that structure, building the thing that then contains the space. We need to make the space before we can fill it with Shabbat, and then we need to fill it intentionally. Good. Jordan? Oh, I like the way you say that, Jordan. Thank you. So the point is not that we are here for Shabbat to recharge so that we can accomplish the week. That's not the point of holy time. The point actually is to work really hard all week long and earn Shabbat, right? And Jewish tradition is not saying we should always be resting, not at all. Actually, we're supposed to be working 6 days a week, not 5, right? This Shabbat is really the only weekend in the Jewish calendar. So 6 days a week, we're supposed to do really hard work, good work. We're supposed to make progress in this world and serve God and humanity. And then something else is supposed to happen on that 7th day. And it's for that we work, not the opposite. Beautiful. Other thoughts on the challenges? Yes? Yeah, you want to turn off the phone, then it makes you anxious, there'll be an emergency, and then you wonder, is it worth it? Because the point was to rest, and now I just caused myself more worry. And our structures in our lives that on which we've come to rely aren't always aligned with our Shabbat practice. Good. Any other challenges that are coming up? Any other challenges? Say that again, Mark. Lack of habit. I think that's great. Lack of habit as in Shabbat practice habit. Yeah, so okay, this is what it looks like every week. This is what we're doing. Good, great. Which then requires maybe, if I could take it sort of where my head goes then, it requires then a lot of creative energy every week to reinvent the thing, which you may or may not have. Okay, any others coming up? Yes, Ellen.
I think with some of the things going on now in the world, I'm thinking about all the anti-trans legislation across the country. It's really easy to feel that God is hidden. And so the challenge for me is to come to Shabbat and sort of to be open to finding that presence of God.
How hard it is, even when you make the time, how hard it is to find God's presence in a world where God feels hidden, where you have just heartbreaking injustices like the anti-trans legislation is a perfect example. And yet, I'll say, you know this as well as I, in these justice circles where the advocacy, the work is being done, those leaders are the first to say, you need rest. You are working hard for justice, you need rest. Other challenges to Shabbat. Beth? Oh, great. We might then we set a goal for Shabbat, then we put expectations on ourselves, just feeling like maybe they're not realistic, and then great, it's another thing that I've failed at, or don't feel great about. Okay, I think that's honest. I think that's realistic. I'd like to dig into a few of these challenges. The first is our relationship with time. Our relationship with time. We're not the first generation to have work to do, to have serious things to accomplish, right? And yet our relationship with time, it sounds like, is a part of our challenge when it comes to our capacity to, what I'm hearing from the group, carve out the time, and then once I'm in the time, actually be doing what I set out to do in that time and have some kind of holy experience. For that challenge, I'm going to offer another Heschel teaching. He says, most of us seem to labor for the sake of things of space. As a result, we suffer from a deeply rooted dread of time and stand aghast when compelled to look into its face. What do we think of him? What do we think of his quote? Do we see eye to eye with him? What do you think? I'm seeing some nods. There's something there, right? There's something there when we are on a treadmill all the time and we forget how to step off the treadmill. Or some parents say, I don't want my child to be bored, and then others say, no, they need to be bored. That's when minds wander. That's when good things happen. And when even being bored or having downtime feels like a waste of time rather than a part of what it means to be a human being. So I like that. The dread of time. For me, just hearing Heschel say that, just him naming the problem opens up the world of open time. It challenges me. It makes me feel that there's something worthwhile in facing down some open time, not having a plan, having open space on my calendar, whatever that might look like, and just facing it to see, well, what would happen if I took some rest, if I took some Shabbat, if I looked at time a little differently than maybe the day-to-day, what can I produce? How can I best use my time? It's an interesting challenge back to us. Did you have a thought, Deborah? Okay. Second challenge I'd like to offer a moment to dig into. I think the second challenge that I'm hearing is that sometimes we get stuck in our own structures, in the structures we've created in our lives. And it doesn't mean those structures are bad. They could be bad, but not necessarily. There are some structures, some habits in our regular lives that we become so stuck in that it's hard to take a break from those structures. I was having a conversation earlier because it is prom season for some of my children and my peers' children, and during prom season, it takes some of us back, and some of us take out some old photos, and there's poofy hair and poofy dresses, and there's also a reflection on this world of prom that in my time was pretty restrictive in terms of what was accepted. Everyone went with a date. It was heteronormative, whether or not it was your boyfriend or girlfriend. It was a boy-girl couple, and there were a lot of norms that in my time and place actually were not challenged. We went with it. Even those norms that today we would say, well, those were not even, they were unjust. They were problematic. Even those folks still, during my day, I don't know, more than 30 years ago, still went with. Today it's different. My kids' peers do not carry the same burden of those particular structures, and there's an openness that is a little more just. And so sometimes structures are problematic inherently within. Other times there are structures that maybe they're not problematic, but you need a break. It's not a 7-day-a-week structure, or it shouldn't be. So think about those structures that might feel like they just don't let up enough to allow you the space you need for Shabbat, or for rest, or for balance. Sometimes I think those structures are actually born out of our accomplishments. We intended those structures. We built them. We were proud of them. We continue to be proud of them, even grateful for them. Still, we may need a little break sometimes from those structures, those habits, those routines. In her book called The Sabbath World, Glimpses of a Different Order of Time, Judith Shulevitz writes, Shabbat safeguards you from being an eternal slave. Today we would say of the clock. In the deep past, we might have said from the struggle to survive. And so if we are in some way a slave to whatever structures we've created, or if we are a slave to the clock, whatever it is we feel we might be a slave to, that's part of the purpose of Shabbat, to help us break free once in a while from the demands, the limits, the very things we've created within our own day. The final challenge I would just like to look at together is that it takes some work to make rest, right? So in the creation story, it says make rest. It sounds like a contradiction, right? What do you mean make rest? Just stop. Just stop what you're doing. Don't take the next step, and you'll be resting, right? And yet, if you want not only a rest, but holy time when you've connected with yourself, with God, with your community, it requires some intention and even maybe some work to create the rest. So in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Emor, the text teaches Shabbat Shabbaton is what we're going for, a Shabbat of complete Shabbatness, or of complete rest, Mikra Kodesh, a time of holiness. And so, to make that happen, it's almost misleading to call it rest. Shabbat Menucha is not just rest, although it can include a good shlaf, a good Shabbat afternoon nap, but in order to make Shabbat really happen is something else. So Judith Shulevitz, that same author, said, the rabbis say, this is the ancient rabbis in the Talmud, the rabbis say, well, how can that be Shabbat rest? And how can God be making something that isn't? How does God, in the story of creation, make rest? And the answer is, God was creating this system of meaning which is based on stopping and looking back over what God had created to say, is that good? And it turns out it was good. And so, perhaps a hint towards our overcoming this challenge of Shabbat in our time, perhaps a hint is to think about how God might be a model for us. God might be a model for us when we think about Shabbat not just as a rest, not just as a task, but as a system of meaning. And if we take that meaning forward, whatever steps we might be able to make towards Shabbat, if we take that meaning forward, and if we're able to then, like God, look back on it and say it was good, if we've created something worthy of reflection, then perhaps it will make more of a difference, as hard as it may be. Perhaps it will make more of a difference in our lives. To me, when I hear the challenges that can get in the way of Shabbat, it makes me realize the very things that challenge us about Shabbat are the reasons we need it most. And so my prayer for us all is that we don't give up and that we find those ways to meaningfully connect in this holy time and find this Jewish wisdom that is key to being human. Shabbat Shalom. We continue in our prayer books on page 282 and then 287 with Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, ואלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes Yahrzeit for the following people on whose shoulders we stand: Minna Applebaum, Isaac Augsburger, Leroy W. Bacharach, Martin Beyersdorfer, Sonny Bernstein, Shirley Bernstein, Isidore Bingswanger, Robert S. Blank, Irving E. Block, Eugene Block, Francis Lave Broder, Jean L. Brody, Zev Aryeh Ben Chaim, Jesse Clark, Wilma Crane, Marion Loeb Dannenberg, Milton M. Edelson, Betty Poland Finkelman, Marjorie Jane Flock, Albert Fogel, Eva R. Fox, Charles Edwin Fox, Bernard Isidore Friedenberg, Stanley Frumpkin, Joseph J. Gable, Sadia Lande Garfinkel, Marilyn J. Gelb, Abram Geller, Milton Gershon, B. Franklin Glass, May Goldberg, Edwin M. Goldsmith Jr., Saul W. Goodman, Sophie Weiss Gordon, Rose Roden Green, Samuel G. Gross, Delia Strauss Hirschberg, Charlotte Harwitz, Israel Isaac Jamison, Harry C. Kahn II, Albert K., Caroline Allman Kaiser, Philip Kirschner, Clotilda Cohn, Burton Neil Komeda, David Koss, Albert Krafso, Benson Krieger, Robert Stephen Krause, Marvin Kushner, Jack H. Landau, Florence Levy, Arthur S. Lorch, Jenny Lipman Luria, Bernard Margulies, Robert A. Marlowe, Jeanette M. Moskowitz, Maxwell H. Nemir, Celia Friedman Newman, Rose Hassler Pincus, Harriet Poland, Louise Gersley Poles, Helen Poes, Gertrude C. Ravitsky, Fred M. Roden, Donald J. Ross, Matthew Rottenberg, S. Lewis Rubinson, David Robert Sachs, Joseph W. Salas, Teresa Bournes Salas, Bertha Harrison Schweig, Francis Smith, Leon Salas Cohen Jr., Stanley Solo, Ida Sperling, Ruth Spielberg, Henrietta B. Stern, Miriam S. Strumpf, Joseph Tolan, Sarah K. Viner, Louis Walder, Nathan Waldman, Anne Mae Jaffe Walter, Edwin H. Weil, Gabriel D. Weiss, Dorothea Lowenthal Wolf, William Woolsey, Matilda Zaretsky. We add the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days for whom we observe Shloshim. Perla Kronik. And if you are observing Yartzeit or Shloshim for a loved one whose name was not called, please feel free to call it out now. Together we honor their memories as, turning to page 294, we rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'almad v'rach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam olmei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudashah b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'okol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, huya asei shalom, aleinu ve'okol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to the bereaved and peace to each of you. And together we say, Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
Once again, a Shabbat Shalom to everyone. We want to be sure you know if you are participating in our Shabbat Deconstructed Shabbat dinner, where we'll get into some more nuts and bolts of the whole work of Shabbat. We are going to be in the Teller Auditorium downstairs, and if you didn't register, Steven's back there. You can see if you can convince him. And next Friday evening, we're really looking forward to the Bates Cafe, the coffee house. So please come support our talented congregants who are offering us this gift in bringing us together in community. If this is your first time at Red of Shalom, we hope you'll be interested to learn more. And Ellen Poster, a member of our board of directors, is waving at the back of the sanctuary, looking forward to greeting you. Thank you, Ellen. Concluding with these words from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. He said, "Never once in my life did I ask God for success or wisdom or power or fame. I asked for wonder, and God gave it to me."
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's Spirit shine upon us and through us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence be with us and bring us peace. Kei Nihi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.